All right, thanks, Paul. Well, good morning, and thank you guys for coming out this morning and for having me here. This is a truly, I think, exciting time in crypto, period. But to be working on crypto policy is truly a privilege that I think we should all take a moment to really appreciate. We have right now a opportunity that just doesn't come along very often in a career. There is usually once a decade that you get a major piece of financial services legislation, and this decade it's going to be crypto. And let that sink in about how far this industry has come and what the opportunities that represents in terms of providing the certainty to our community, to our builders, to know that if they're bringing something from their head into the world, that they know that they're going to have the ability to then turn it around and bring it to market. This is a situation that we haven't had for the last entire existence of the industry, really, but certainly for the last 4 years. And we're going to be turning the corner and never coming back as an industry, which is really, truly exciting. I just wanted to quickly touch on a couple of things just to set the table for the day. So first of all, I think it's really easy to fall into the weeds in terms of stablecoins and market structure, but there's really a lot of alignment, more alignment than there is disagreement on what the substance of these legislative vehicles should look like at the end of the day. And so just wanted to set a couple of issues out just to set the table for the day. Whenever we talk to our executive team about legislation, we always start with this slide because it really is not super complicated what we're asking Congress to do. We need a stablecoin bill, which we're going to talk about today. We need a market structure for digital commodities, everything that is not a security. And we need the ability for there to be a digital securities market in the United States, which we know exists around the world, and we know that there's a desire to do in the United States. We need Congress to provide those tools to be able to get there. And I think if you think about each of those puzzle pieces one by one, we've got stablecoin that we're 97% of the way there. We've got digital commodities that we're probably 94 or 95% of the way there. And then we've got digital securities that I think that there really is a broad agreement that is forming across the industry in terms of what those pieces look like. And so we've just got to be able to get it done. So next slide, just real quickly, I thought I'd kind of set the table for what we see in the stablecoin bills that are currently being debated on the Hill. Both of them have the OCC as a regulator, which is really exciting. That's better than where we've been the last couple of years, where there has been the risk of the Federal Reserve coming in and it effectively making a bank-only market through a regulatory process. There's a much better reason to be confident with the Fed. You've got an ability for both banks and non-banks to be in the market. By the way, the fact that banks can be here is a good thing because of the fact that you have once they enter the market themselves, things like debanking risk go away pretty quickly if they're actually participating in this marketplace. There are some questions that still need to be figured out. What do you do about offshore stablecoins? I'm sure that's going to be a major part of the conversation today. It's certainly a major question mark in terms of how we're going to be addressing this from a policy perspective, given that both the House and the Senate take very divergent paths in terms of dealing with that. There's, I think, a question of whether there should be a separation of banking and commerce that's applied. We have pretty deep concerns about that. If you think about the reason why those provisions exist for banks, it's deposit insurance that nobody's talking about here. It's federal, access to things like the discount window that probably aren't very realistic here. But what it could mean is effectively a backdoor to a bank-only stablecoin market if it's done wrong. And so we're pretty concerned about that. And then I think there's a question of custody requirements. So the fact that these bills are moving separately creates sort of some questions about how you're going to be custodying stablecoins because of the fact that they're not moving side by side with a market structure package. Hopefully those questions can be answered through market structure, but there are, I think, some issues that really need to be thought through just from a stablecoin perspective in terms of how to make those provisions actually work. But we shouldn't lose the forest for the trees here, because these are solvable problems. And the fact of the matter is we do have the political will to get something done and to have it happen this year. And it is truly an exciting opportunity. What we have to do to make that happen is to continue to lend our voices, to continue to show up at events like this, to continue to talk to the Hill, to continue to remind them of the need to pass legislation that will both enable consumers to be protected, but enable the industry to have the certainty that it has been calling for the longest time. It is a really unusual situation that you have an industry that is standing there waving their hands, please regulate us. And we now have the opportunity to get that done and to pass a bill that hopefully will last for, outlive all of us, which would be a truly exciting opportunity. So thank you all for coming today. Thank you for having these conversations. It's important to be, the details matter, and forums like this are a really good place to share those details. And we're excited to work with everyone to get this done. So thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.